We always talk about the importance of everything in your story having purpose. But if that's the case, how do you ensure that every chapter is golden? That each chapter is a strong, standalone piece of work? Well, today I'm discussing how to write chapters that stand out. So be sure to stick around. Let's get started! Hey guys, Nour here, and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. So how do you write chapters that stand out? I'm going to start with a tip I discovered a while back, and that's giving each chapter its own title. These titles can be temporary or permanent. No one other than you has to know about them, and you could literally remove them before you send your manuscript off into the world. But the point of using them is to help you figure out the goal or theme of each chapter. For example, if you're hoping a chapter is heartbreaking, you might use a chapter title that hints at tragedy. This way, as you're writing that chapter, you are constantly reminded of that chapter's goal. I don't always do this when I'm writing, but I have found that it does help keep my chapters on track when I do. So I encourage you to try it out. My second tip is to consider how each chapter fits into your novel's narrative arc. For instance, we have exposition, inciting incident, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. So it's only natural for you to tailor each chapter based on where you are in the narrative arc. Are you reaching the climax point in the narrative arc? Then make sure those chapters are hype and climactic. My third tip is to have a clear beginning, middle, and end for each chapter. Yes, each chapter should have its own mini narrative arc. Just like how your novel as a whole has a clear beginning, middle, and end, each chapter should too. This ensures that every scene and every chapter has purpose and keeps the story moving forward. If your chapter starts with a character going to the police station to ask for help, the middle of the chapter can be the character trying to convince the cops of the crime they witnessed. Then, the chapter ending will be the character being told disappointing news and not being taken seriously. Alternatively, you could break this down further, where this entire interaction could be just one scene within your chapter. But if you choose to make this a single scene in your chapter, it would play the role of the beginning of your chapter. Then another scene would be the middle and another would be the end. Of course, scenes don't have to be divided in this exact number. You could have 5 scenes or just 2 for all I care. But in the end, you should still have a clear beginning, middle, and end. Speaking of chapter endings, make sure to end your chapters on intriguing turning points. In other words, create cliffhangers for the end of each chapter to lure readers to continue reading to the next chapter. Your goal is to prevent them from putting down your book once they finish reading a chapter. You want them unable to resist reading more. So if your character gets hit by a car, end the chapter there. In the next chapter, you could start with the character's fate. Are they alive or dead? Are they badly injured? Of course, the way you end your chapters doesn't have to be this dramatic. In fact, it shouldn't always be this dramatic, or your readers will get tired of the drama. But point being, make sure you end your chapters on a point of intrigue. It can be as simple as your character recognizing someone's voice. Then in the next chapter, readers get told whom the voice belongs to. And my last tip is to consider your chapter's pacing. Make them shorter if there's action and you want a fast pace. And make them longer if you want your characters to slow down, consider what to do, get back into order, and so on. Of course, when I say make them shorter or longer, I'm not saying to drag things on or make them end so quickly that readers are left unsatisfied. I'm just saying that certain chapters should feel more thrilling and fast-paced just based on what's going on. So think about the pacing you want before you start writing each chapter. Have a goal for the events you're going to write about and work from there. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, what's one thing you do to make your chapters stand out? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frain and Alan J. Early from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president!